Metabolism is the process that the body uses to take large molecules, things we ingest, food and stuff like that, and we break it down through a process called catabolism. Break those foodstuffs down into really small molecules, and then we absorb them, and through anabolism use those molecules to make cells and to make energy and to do things. Within that, we got some waste products from that. Some heat gets sent off from that. And that's metabolism. The cells do a process called cellular respiration. And cellular respiration is the process where our bodies can combine oxygen plus some kind of food type molecule, so food, and it will divert that chemical energy in that food into life-sustaining, activities type of thing. So basically, we're taking oxygen, adding it to the food, and getting ATP. We're getting energy. Okay, and then there's some waste products that come from that as well. So cellular respiration starts with a molecule of glucose. So we're taking in food and we're breaking it down, the carbohydrates, down to their monosaccharides, and we were looking for the molecule of glucose. So glucose is let me erase that. So C6H12O6, that is glucose. We add it to oxygen and we get carbon dioxide, water, and of course we get ATP. So that is cellular respiration, and we're going to talk about how this occurs in our cells. So this particular reaction that we're going to talk about is what we call an oxidation reduction reaction. So it is an oxidation reduction reaction. And basically what that means is there's two main processes going on in this reaction. We have an oxidation process, oxidation, and a reduction. So the oxidation, we are oxidizing glucose. This is glucose here. So we're oxidizing glucose, and this means an oxidation reaction basically means if something is oxidized, it is giving away electrons, getting rid of them, okay? So we are breaking the bonds of glucose and oxidizing it down to carbon dioxide. So we're breaking those carbons down and taking the electrons in those bonds. Okay, and these are high energy electrons. Also, with the electron going away, we can also lose, or that molecule can also lose a hydrogen. So a hydrogen proton. Okay. The oxidation part of this reaction is what releases energy because it's releasing those high energy electrons. Okay, so this is a catabolic part of the reaction. The reduction side of it is the oxygen. In an oxidation reduction reaction where we have a molecule getting rid of an electron, we have to have another molecule to take it. Okay, so the oxygen is being reduced to water, which means it is taking on an electron. So in a reduction reaction, when something is reduced, it is taking up an electron. Okay, so it is receiving an electron. The oxidized thing is giving the electron away. So this is anabolic because you're adding the electron to something, and this is catabolic. This is the oxidation where you're getting rid of it. So these reactions are going to involve, or this reaction is going to involve several pathways that allow for the breakdown of this glucose molecule to liberate those electrons out of it and then get it over to the oxygen, get it over, basically take those electrons and use them and then send them over to the oxygen to make water. All right, so in order to remember that, don't forget, oxidation is loss. O-I-L, oil. Reduction is gain. R-I-G, rig. So oil rig. Oil, oxidation is loss. Rig, reduction is gain. Okay? So you don't want to forget that. This is what we're going to be talking about in cellular respiration, how we get ATP so that the cells can do stuff. Okay? Cellular respiration occurs in two places that we're going to look at. So I just want to remind you really quickly of where we're going to be. So we're in a cell. So we're talking about in the cells. So this is a cell. So here's my cell. And in the cell, we've got a little nucleus or whatever. And of course, in the cell, we're going to have a structure. It's just not that large, but we're going to have structures that look like this. This is a mitochondria. The oxidation of glucose starts in the cytoplasm. But most of the ATP that we generate through cellular respiration occurs in the mitochondria. So don't forget the anatomy, the basic anatomy of the mitochondria. We have an outer membrane, we have an inner membrane, and we have this space in between that called the intermembrane space. And then this here is called the matrix. So we're going to be talking about how the cells make ATP and look at the entire process from start to finish, which is going to start in the cytoplasm, go into the mitochondria, and we're going to end up with a whole bunch of ATP from this process.